Okay. Hello, everyone, for this latest episode of Humans of Tech. I'm personally very excited to have David Sherry with us today. He's the CISO for a small university. I believe it's called Princeton University. Not sure if you guys have heard of it.
Small unknown university somewhere in the Northeast.
Somewhere in the Northeast. So personally delighted to have this human on the line today. We're going to go ahead and kick things off. As usual, the rules, we are not re-recording, so all the bloopers are real. We're trying to keep this short, less than 10 minutes or so. We're going to do one question at random and then a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Okay, take it away.
All right.
Sounds good.
I don't
Let's do it.
all today, but I have a bowl, so we're gonna go with
Okay.
this. All right.
I always get so anxious at this part.
You don't have to answer it.
Well, it's like, is it going to be a good question? Because when you know who's on the other line, you're like, please be a good one.
I like this one a lot. What specific areas of technology are you most interested in or passionate about?
Okay. Well, I think obviously everyone from the President of the United States to my mother-in-law is concerned about AI and asking us about AI. But I would say the thing that I am most passionate about is any technology that can enhance the lives of people, whether it's those that may be visually impaired or hearing impaired, something that would make their lives better. I love technology that is unbiased and takes into account all cultures and all sorts of people. So that's where my passion is, and that's why I love working on a university, because we're always thinking in that regard.
Yeah.
I love that. It's funny because the follow-up question that I had has to do with like human-centric things, and the side of technology that you're the most interested in happens to be the human-centered part. I personally started to like learn a little bit of that side of thing. I think that when you're on the vendor side, you kind of lose touch with the use cases that have to do with, like you said, the hearing impaired, the folks that can't see. And some of the strides being made in that area are super huge. But
yeah, absolutely.
Or is there any one in particular that comes to mind that's like a use case that most of us would never really think about that you see on the campus setting, or actually even outside of the campus setting as well?
Yeah, so certainly here at Princeton, one of my roles is in charge of risk assessment, IT risk assessment. We have a really cool proactive solution that we call the architecture and security review, that we get the vendors on the phone and we use some baseline documentation, some question and answers to assess their risk. And one of the things I think that we're really passionate about here at Princeton and that I drive is our just our focus on digital accessibility. And having it qualified, as you know, it's a big deal on college campuses. There can be civil liberties suits against us if we're not providing access to all. And we have between undergrad and graduate students about 9,000, and not all of them see the same or hear the same or have the same dexterity, or there's all sorts of different capabilities amongst our student body. So we take that role of digital accessibility really serious, that it's been tested by humans, that there's alternate text, that there's ways of getting to things through menus and not just links, that the visual aids also have audible clues behind them. So something I take serious because I take pride in making sure that our students have all the possible capabilities they have to be successful and ultimately change the world after they leave this place.
Yeah. So I'm breaking the rule. We've had 2 questions, but we're going to do 3 because we have another one for you. So
you are a rule breaker.
I know. Well, because Princeton has a reputation, at least from the technology standpoint, to have an incredible culture, at least from what I've heard on the outside, and then getting to chat with you as well. And one of the things we hear often in cyber is that you're only as strong as your weakest link, or the weakest person, or that person is the one who breaks it or whatnot. And even before getting a chance to meet you, I had someone told me like, hey, David's like flipping the switch on this and changing the way we should be thinking about security from that perspective. Could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I thought we were friends, but I can't be friends with anybody that uses the weakest link. So sorry, we're gonna have to start over again.
I'm not very good with sayings. I mess them up all the time.
I can't tell you how much that saying uses are the weakest link. It irks me. We use it in presentations only to help us describe the way we think about our community that we serve and support here. I think before I get into that part, saying users are the weakest link is basically telling them that you think they're going to fail. That no matter how good your architecture is, no matter how good your defense in depth, your IDS, your email platform, no matter how good we build something here, we just expect someone to click on a link and give their credentials away. And if we keep calling them that, it's really negative reinforcement. Imagine if you had children and you kept telling the children that they're going to fail. That's just going to get in their mindset. So here at Princeton, we never say those that we support are the weakest link. We call them the guardians at the gate. We tell them that they're part of the team. My team started off small. It was only 5 of us for a while. We're now up to a robust 16 and getting bigger. So that's great. But even with 16 people, we can't be everywhere at every time and place. So we get our community convinced, and we give them all the tools and training necessary that they are part of the team. They're part of the solution. That no matter how good we are, it's up to them to visually look at the clue on the key on the screen, and before they touch the keyboard, to think through from a security perspective. And we're having great success with this. They like being known as part of the team. And as I stated, some of it's training, some of it's tools. I'll be honest with you, frankly, some of it's just pure psychology. We just change their mindset. We absolutely change their mindset, and we convince them that they need to be thinking like this 24/7. And we do a lot of training for their family life and their home life, because we feel if they're thinking about security from 5 p.m. to 8 a.m., they got to be thinking about it from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can't turn it on and off or flip the light switch, as you said, Caroline.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. We're having some success.
That's great. And I think what you said really resonates, because it's like, if you set someone up for failure, they're going to fail. Like if you're going to set them up to succeed, they'll probably fail at one point, but they're given that platform to be like, I guess more or less, I don't know what to say. It just slipped my mind, but, they're given the platform to succeed. And I think that's
Right.
huge. And I would love to never hear that phrase again as well. The weakest link.
We always try to focus on the positive here. When we do a risk assessment and we give them the results, the first part of the results is all the things that they're doing well. And we give them kudos and a shout out and tell them to continue to do that. And then the things that maybe they can get better at, we don't call them failures. We say you're not missing the mark for best practice. And everybody at Princeton wants to do the right thing and wants to be part of the solution. So when they hear the word best practice, we don't call it a failure. We call it just missing the mark, and they want to get up to that mark. And even when we do simulated phishing, we always call out the success rate instead of the failure rate.
What is it? My daughter's report card came back, and there are areas it says, so it's meets standard and approaching standard. I think that's the way, but I think that it's a good one for all those leaders out there who have a team. I guess pointing out the positive and showing the areas for growth versus like demeriting per se is a good thing there.
Yeah.
I love it. I think this is a great call personally.
Yeah. Great questions.
David, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
I can't tell you how much I was pleased that you asked. I've been watching these videos and liking them and complimenting them and sharing with others. And now I get to hang out with you too. So this has been really cool for me. And I really appreciate asking me and getting me on.
Love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.